The station lights flickered once, then again. Commander Reina Torres looked up from her terminal. "Report." "No issues," said Lieutenant Corin, his silver eyes glowing faintly. He was from the Jalari, a species known for calm nerves and sharp senses. But something's wrong. Reina stood. Corin never said something was wrong without a reason. A soft chime echoed across the control room. A new signal had been detected, weak, broken, almost like background noise. But it was repeating. Reina crossed the deck and leaned over the console. "Origin, Sector 17. Deep black," Corin said. "No inhabited systems. No stations. No traffic." "Then what's talking to us?" He tapped the console. "It's old, encrypted, and human." Reina blinked. "That's not possible." Human transmissions hadn't come from that part of space in thousands of years. Not since Earth went dark. The sun had collapsed, the solar system destroyed. Humanity had scattered. Most were believed dead. The rest, just stories, legends, ghosts in the void. But the signal was clear now. "Dr. Sue to command," Reina ordered. "Now." The lights dimmed again. The signal pulsed louder. Static, then words, old broken English. An accent she didn't recognize. "This is Seedship Astrius. Emergency protocol. Requesting aid. They're coming." The room fell silent. Dr. Sue rushed in, breathless. "You said it was in English?" Reina nodded. "But not modern. Maybe 22nd century standard." Sue stared at the screen. "That's not just a distress call. That's a cry from the past." Reina leaned closer. The words were distorted, looping. But the desperation was real. Sue played with the filters, isolating the transmission. "It's not a glitch. This is real time. The signal's active now." "From an empty system," Reina said. Corin looked uneasy. "Not empty, just erased. That sector was marked lost during the early Devourer incursions." Reina felt a chill in her spine. The Devourers. Reality-eating monsters from beyond known space. They consumed stars, planets, even time itself. No one had ever survived a full encounter. "Put in a course," she said. Corin turned to her. "You're serious?" That signal came from a human voice. A real one. "If someone's alive out there, if it's not too late." She didn't need to finish. Within an hour, their patrol cruiser Vigilant Light left the station. Silent, dark, on a direct course toward the coordinates the signal had come from. Nobody informed the consortium. Not yet. She couldn't risk the mission being blocked. 3 days passed in jump space. Every night, Reina replayed the message. Over and over. "This is Astrius. Seedship 5. Emergency protocol. Requesting aid. They're coming." The voice was male. Calm but strained. Every time she heard it, something about the tone twisted her gut. On the 3rd day, they dropped out of FTL. The system was cold. A dim black dwarf at the center. Dead planets. Empty orbits. No sign of life. But there, just beyond the 3rd planet's orbit, something massive drifted silently in the dark. "Visual," Reina ordered. The screen lit up, showing a ship the size of a small moon. It wasn't built like consortium vessels. It was old, scarred, human in design, but not any kind she recognized. It looked grown, covered in dark metal plates, wrapped around a central spine that glowed faintly. Dr. Sue leaned forward. "That's not just a ship. That's a seed ship." Reina's heart skipped. The seed ships were myth. The last chance of survival after Earth's fall. They were said to carry thousands of people. No one had ever found one intact. Until now. They hailed it. No response. They tried again. Just static. Reina turned to her team. "Gear up. We're boarding." Their shuttle floated silently toward the giant. As they got closer, the size of it became overwhelming. Like flying next to a dead god. The hangar doors were open, frozen in place. Emergency power still hummed inside. Just enough to keep life support online. But not enough to answer calls. The boarding team stepped in. Inside was dark, dusty, walls scorched from old damage. Ice crystals floated in the air, like tiny ghosts. Then movement. Dr. Sue froze. Over there. A flicker of lights down the corridor. They followed it through winding halls, past sealed doors and silent pods. Then they found them. Stasis chambers. Hundreds, maybe thousands. Some were cracked. Others empty. Some still glowed blue. Reyna wiped the frost from one panel. Inside was a man. Pale. Still. But breathing. Suddenly his eyes opened. Everyone froze. He gasped, weakly pressing against the glass. Reyna leaned in. "Can you hear me?" The man nodded, barely. Then, with trembling lips, he whispered one word. "Run." The chamber lights turned red. The ship began to hum. And from somewhere deep in the hull, something else began to wake. The sound in the ship was changing. Low vibrations rolled through the walls, like a beast breathing in its sleep. Red lights flashed above the stasis pods. A warning, ancient and still working after thousands of years. Commander Reyna Torres stepped back from the pod. The man inside was now fully awake, eyes wide, chest rising and falling too fast. Dr. Sue tapped on the glass. "He's stable. Barely. But that heart rate, he's panicking." Reyna raised her voice. "Who are you?" The man's lips moved, but no sound came. She leaned closer. "We're from the Galactic Consortium. We found your ship." He pressed a shaky hand to the inside of the glass. "It's too late," he mouthed. Reyna turned to her team. "Get this pod powered down. We're waking him up." Lieutenant Corrin looked uneasy. "Commander, something else is active. I'm reading energy spikes from the lower decks." "From what?" "I don't know. But it's not life support. And it's not friendly." Reyna's hand went to her sidearm. "Then we need answers. Fast." Dr. Sue worked quickly, hands moving across the control panel like a pianist. After a moment, the stasis pod hissed, releasing steam. The glass slid open slowly. The man inside fell forward. Reyna caught him. He was heavier than she expected. Strong even in weakness. Skin pale like he hadn't seen light in years. His eyes were sharp, like someone who'd seen too much. "Name?" Reyna asked. "Captain Elias Ward," he whispered, voice dry. "Seedship 5, Astrius." Reyna exchanged a quick glance with Sue. "What year did you launch?" Elias coughed. 2386. Sue froze. "That's nearly 4,000 years ago." Elias didn't react. "Yeah, that sounds about right." Reyna helped him to a sitting position against the pod. "Your ship broadcasted a distress signal." "I had to," Elias said. "We were never supposed to wake up. Not unless we made it to a safe world. But something went wrong." Corrin's voice came through on comms. "Commander, motion detected. Middeck. Bulkheads opening." Reyna turned to Elias. "What else is on this ship?" His eyes met hers. "We brought them with us." Reyna's blood ran cold. "Who?" "The things that destroyed Earth's neighbors. That ate the colony fleets. The ones that follow time fractures. The ones we tried to run from." "The Devourers," Corrin said quietly over the comms. "They're here." Reyna helped Elias stand. "Why didn't they destroy your ship?" "Because we trapped them," Elias said. "We used a pulse gate, folded time into a closed loop. Kept them in a stasis lock below the core. But if your signal woke us." The ship shook. Just slightly. But enough. "They're waking up too. Can we escape?" Reyna asked. "No. Not yet. Not if you want to stop them." Reyna turned to her team. "Move. We're getting this man off this ship. And we're sealing whatever door we can behind us." But the ship didn't want to let them go. As they moved back through the hall, emergency lights turned off. The floor shifted under their boots. Metal groaned. Steam hissed from vents that hadn't worked in centuries. Then came the sound. A soft, rattling whisper that seemed to echo from inside the walls. Like voices, but not in any language. A chorus of hunger. Elias stumbled. Reyna caught him. "They're not fully awake yet," he said. "You still have time." They reached the docking bay, but the shuttle was gone. What? Reyna barked into the comms. Where's our evac? Corin's voice came through, heavy with static. Something's jamming us. The ship's blocking signals. We're locked out. Dr. Sue looked around the bay. There's another dock. Starboard side. Elias nodded. Secondary launch bay. Old escape pods. Some might still work. The team moved fast. Every hallway felt tighter now. The red glow dimmed to a sickly purple. The walls pulsed, like veins. And behind them, soft footsteps. Too many. Too close. Reyna didn't look back. They reached the secondary bay. Most of the pods were crushed or hollow. But one still blinked green. Sue sprinted to it. One still has fuel. It's small, only fits 3. Reyna looked at her team. 5 people. No good options. Elias didn't hesitate. You take it. I stay. No, Reyna said sharply. You don't get it, he said. You leave this ship, tell the galaxy. Warn them. If these things get out again. From the far end of the corridor, something stepped into view. Tall. Thin. Wrong. His body shimmered like broken glass. No eyes. No face. But it saw them. Corin raised his weapon. They're coming. Reyna pushed Elias toward the pod. All of us. Or none. He opened his mouth to argue, then stopped. Another shape stepped into view. Then another. Dozens. Dr. Sue screamed. We have to go. Now. Reyna sealed the pod door. Corin covered the hatch, firing shots that vanished into the dark. The pod launched. Through the tiny rear window, Reyna watched the hangar shrink away and saw the shadows swarm the dock. Elias leaned back, eyes closed. They're awake now, he whispered. And they'll be hungry. Reyna stared into the stars. Somewhere out there, the consortium still thought humanity was extinct. She now knew the truth. They weren't extinct. They were the only thing left standing between the galaxy and whatever was coming. And they'd been alone for a long, long time. The escape pod drifted in silence. Commander Reyna Torres sat against the cold wall, eyes locked on the stars. Her hands still trembled. Not from fear, at least not only from fear, but from what she'd just seen. What she couldn't explain. They weren't just monsters, those things in the Astrius. They were wrong. Like space itself bent around them. They looked like shadows wearing broken skin. They moved without sound, without mass. They shouldn't have been real, but they were. Across from her, Elias Ward was quiet. He hadn't spoken since launch. Dr. Sue sat beside him, running scans on his vitals, but his mind was elsewhere. Reyna finally broke the silence. What were those things? Elias blinked, as if waking from a dream. We never named them. Some called them voidwalkers. Some just called them death. But we knew one thing. They feed on existence itself. Like the devourers? Sue asked. Elias shook his head. Worse. Devourers are mindless. Like fire. These things learn. They adapt. They remember. Reyna leaned forward. And you fought them? No, he said. We ran. And we barely escaped. Outside the pod window, the dead star system glowed faintly in the distance. The Astrius was just a dot now, but Reyna couldn't stop staring at it. She knew something inside was watching them, waiting. Corin and the others. Sue started, voice shaking. Reyna put a hand on her shoulder. They knew the risks. They bought us time. A soft beep echoed through the pod. The computer lit up. Reyna leaned forward. It's picking up a patrol signal. Consortium fleet. They're close. Elias looked nervous. They can't go near Astrius. If they investigate, if they open the ship. Reyna turned to the console. Then we warn them. She activated the emergency beacon. Short-range burst only. No auto-response. A small patrol craft intercepted the pod 3 hours later. The docking crew looked stunned when they pulled them aboard. They recognized Reyna immediately. She was high-ranking, respected, trusted. But their faces changed when they saw Elias. You found a human? One of the officers asked, staring at Elias like he was a ghost. He was on the seedship Astrius. Reyna said. That ship is real. And it's not empty. The officer blinked. That ship was listed lost 3,000 years ago. Reyna just nodded. Not lost. Sealed. But now it's open. Later, after medical checks and debriefs, Reyna stood alone in the fleet commander's office aboard the cruiser Dauntless Sky. Admiral Curvos, a tall, four-eyed Falari, stared at the report she had given him. This can't be accurate, he said. Precursor-level anomalies? Multiple time fractures? Reality instability? Reyna kept her voice calm. You asked for my report. That's it. He looked at Elias, who now stood beside her, cleaned up, dressed in a borrowed uniform. You're saying these entities, these void walkers, are still active? Elias nodded. They're not just active. They're hungry. And if the Astrius is unsealed, they'll escape. Admiral Curvos tapped his clawed fingers on the table. We can send a strike force, destroy the ship, eliminate the threat. No, Reyna said quickly. If you go in blind, you'll lose everyone. Weapons don't work the same inside that field. Space is twisted. Time runs in loops. Curvos frowned. What do you suggest? Elias stepped forward. Find the other Seedships. If even one more survived, they'll have information. Maybe tech that can stop this. There were others? Curvos asked. 49 more, Elias said. Scattered. Each one launched with a full genetic archive, advanced AI, and FTL drives. But we knew we might never see each other again. So we each went different directions. Different times. Reyna looked at the Admiral. If we find them, we find a way to fight. Curvos stared at them both, then nodded slowly. We'll put out a classified search order. Quiet. We don't need panic. He stood. You two are to remain aboard. This situation is now top-level secure. No outside contact. Reyna frowned. You're locking us in? You're a hero, Commander. But this is bigger than you now. Reyna opened her mouth to speak, but Elias gently touched her arm. Let it go. For now. They were escorted to temporary quarters. Comfortable, guarded, quiet. Later that night, Reyna sat near the window, staring at the stars. Elias stood beside her. They don't believe us, she said. They will, he replied. Sooner than they want to. She turned to him. What happened to your people, Elias? He was silent for a long time. Some of us died in cryo. Some ships never found a world. But others we adapted. We changed. We survived in ways we weren't supposed to. And you? I stayed behind. Astrius was meant to be a warning. Reyna leaned forward. A warning for who? He looked out the window. For the galaxy. That humanity didn't die. We just got left behind. Outside, the stars moved silently. But far beyond them, something ancient had opened its eyes. And it remembered the taste of Earth. Reyna didn't sleep. She sat in the small, quiet room the consortium had assigned her. The lights were soft, the air perfectly regulated. But she felt trapped, like the walls were slowly closing in. Across the room, Elias Ward stood near the window watching the stars. He hadn't spoken in a while. His face looked calm, but she could tell he was calculating, thinking, preparing. Do you believe they'll do anything? She asked. Elias turned. No. Reyna sighed. Neither do I. The consortium had always worked through committees, votes, protocol, procedures. They would send teams to study the Astrius. Scientists, advisors, politicians. None of them would understand the danger until it was too late. Reyna stood up. We can't wait. Elias tilted his head. You're thinking of running? I'm thinking of finding the other Seedships before the Voidwalkers do. They'll try to stop us. Then they'll have to catch us. Elias didn't smile, but something in his eyes changed. A flicker of approval. That night, Reyna made contact with someone she trusted. An old friend named Juno, a cargo pilot with no love for rules and a ship fast enough to slip through a net. Juno answered the secret transmission with a raised eyebrow. I thought you were dead, she said. Not yet. Then you're probably about to ask me to do something that'll get me killed. Reyna nodded. Probably. Juno grinned. Send me the coordinates. 2 hours later, alarms sounded across the cruiser. Reyna and Elias moved fast. They had already rerouted the door locks, disabled the trackers. Juno's ship, the Black Swan, had docked quietly under a fake ID tag. It slipped in like a shadow. Reyna and Elias sprinted through the maintenance tunnels, avoiding main corridors. The sound of boots echoed in the distance. Security teams searching, but not fast enough. They reached the docking bay. The Black Swan waited, hatch open, engines humming. Juno stood at the ramp, chewing on a stick of dried fruit. Your boyfriend looks like he stepped out of a museum. Elias raised an eyebrow. I was frozen for 3,000 years. That explains it, she said. Get in. They launched seconds later. The cruiser hailed them. Reyna ignored it. We'll be flagged across half the sector now, Juno said, steering hard into jump space. Good, Reyna said. We're going somewhere no one else would dare follow. Elias sat at the co-pilot seat. There's a relay station on the edge of the old Earth sector. It was a backup beacon, meant to ping other Seedships if they got too far apart. If it's still working, it might have data. Maybe even a response. Reyna leaned forward. Plot the course. The ship jumped. 3 days later, they dropped out of FTL near the ruins of an old Terran communication hub. The station drifted in silence, its surface pitted with micrometeorite scars. No lights, no movement, just a cold, hollow shell. They docked carefully, entered through an old maintenance airlock. Inside it was dark. Juno lit a flare. This place smells like ghosts. Reyna moved toward the central computer core. Surprisingly, it still had power. Backup systems, most likely nuclear low output, designed to last centuries. Elias worked fast. His fingers danced over ancient keys and blinking lights. Reyna waited. Then the monitor lit up. Seedlink beacon active. A small blinking dot appeared on the star map. Reyna leaned in. Another Seedship? Elias nodded. It's real. That signal's authentic. Where? Elias hesitated. Near the old Trinar sector. Consortium territory. Juno whistled. That place is crawling with patrols. We go anyway, Reyna said. We're not turning back. But just as Elias started logging coordinates, the screen flickered. A second signal appeared. Then a third. Then a fourth. Reyna's heart pounded. That's not possible. Elias stared at the screen. It's a chain reaction. Something activated the old net. More ships are waking up. More signals coming online. Then the station lights flickered. A low hum filled the air. Reyna's hand went to her sidearm. What is that? Elias stood. Something else heard the signals. Juno looked toward the corridor. I think we've got company. From deep inside the station, a door creaked open on its own. Cold air swept through like a breath. Then they heard it. A whisper. Not words, just sound. Dry. Hollow. Wrong. Elias whispered. They followed us. Reyna grabbed his arm. Run. They bolted back toward the ship. Lights began to die behind them, one by one, as if something was moving just out of sight. Juno slammed the hatch closed behind them. What the hell did you wake up? Reyna didn't answer. As the Black Swan pulled away from the station, Reyna looked at the map. Dozens of blinking dots now covered the screen. Each one a signal. Each one a human ship thought lost. Humanity was rising again. But so were the shadows that chased them. And this time, they weren't going to wait quietly in the dark. The ship drifted through blue clouds of charged gas. Rays of light bent strangely outside the windows, twisted by gravity from a nearby dead star. Reyna Torres stood in the command bay of the Black Swan, staring at the display. It looked like a storm of stars had burst open. Each blinking dot was a signal from a human seedship. Not one or two, but dozens, some near, others far away, scattered across the edge of the galaxy. The old network had worked. After thousands of years, the Seedships were still out there. Alive. But not all the news was good. They're not just waking up, Elias said. They're calling for help. On the screen, several signals flashed red. One had already gone dark. Lost again? Reyna asked. Elias nodded. Or taken. We were too loud. Juno leaned back in the pilot's chair. You turned on a lighthouse in the middle of a haunted forest. Something heard us. Reyna tapped the console. Then we find them before it does. Their first target was a seed ship called Tantalus. Its signal came from a small system near the Trinar edge. It was close, only 2 jumps away, but deep inside Consortium territory. And the Consortium was now hunting them. Reyna had received the warning 2 days ago. An encrypted message from a friend on the inside. The order was clear. Return to custody or be labeled enemies of peace. The message ended with 5 words that stayed in her mind. You've seen too much already. Reyna didn't reply. The jump to Tantalus was rough. Something about the system twisted space in strange ways. The Black Swan dropped out of FTL with sparks dancing across the hull. The seed ship floated above a red planet. It was intact, larger than Astrius, but scarred. Its outer shell was cracked in places, like something had tried to tear its way in. No response came when they hailed. Life signs? Reyna asked. Elias scanned the data. Faint, scattered, maybe a few dozen. They docked. Inside, the Tantalus was dark and hot. Emergency lights flickered weakly. The smell of old air and burned circuits filled the halls. Then, a voice. Stay where you are. Reyna turned fast, hand on her weapon. A figure stepped out of the shadows, wrapped in a cloak of flexible metal. Their face was human, but pale, tired, and marked by glowing lines under the skin. I'm Captain Yarafong, the woman said. Who the hell are you? Reyna lowered her weapon. Commander Reyna Torres, Galactic Consortium. Well, not anymore. Elias stepped forward. We're from Astrius. Yara's eyes widened. No one answered for centuries. We thought we were the last. Reyna nodded. We thought the same. They walked together through the halls of the ship. What Reyna saw shook her. The crew had changed. Some had metal limbs. Some had eyes that glowed in the dark. Children ran past them, quiet and fast, bare feet tapping on steel floors. These people, Reyna whispered. Yara answered before she could ask. We didn't just survive. We adapted. The Tantalus failed to find a planet. We built our world inside the ship. She showed them the lower decks, farmland under artificial suns, lakes held in magnetic fields, oxygen gardens grown from gene-edited plants. It wasn't just a ship. It was a city, a world, but it was failing. We lost power cores last year, Yara said. And worse, something followed us. We've seen shadows near the engines. We hear whispers in the night. Reyna's chest tightened. Void walkers. Yara's face went pale. You know them. We've fought them, Elias said. And we know they're coming again. They spent the night repairing the ship systems. Elias helped restart the navigation core. Juno patched the outer hull. Reyna coordinated with Yara's people, warriors, engineers, teachers. They were tired but strong. Before they left, Yara handed Reyna a small orb. This holds our navigation logs, she said. We've seen other signals, other survivors. We wanted to go to them, but we couldn't. Reyna took it carefully. We will. Back aboard the Black Swan, they loaded the new data. More signals. More Seedships. A map was forming. Reyna stared at the screen. They're everywhere. Not everywhere, Elias said. Look at this. He pointed at a section of the map. A huge space between the signals. No Seedships. No stars. Just darkness. Juno narrowed her eyes. What is that? Elias zoomed in. That's where Earth used to be. Reyna stared at the empty black. It's still watching, Elias said softly. Still waiting. Reyna looked at the growing map. Humans scattered like stars, waking up one by one. A network forming in the dark. She took a deep breath. We're not running anymore. The map glowed softly in the dark room. Dozens of blinking lights, each one a human seed ship. some active, some fading. All of them scattered across the stars like forgotten sparks. Reina Torres stared at the screen. They had names now. Tantalus, Horizon, Calypso, Ironheart, Eden, and more. Survivors, colonists, fighters. Each seed ship had a different story. Some had found planets. Some had turned their ships into floating cities. Others had lived in silence, waiting for a signal that never came, until now. The Seedlink network had reconnected them. And now something else had noticed. Juno's voice broke the silence. Consortium patrols are moving. Fast. They're closing systems. Blocking jumps. Elias stood at the navigation console. They're trying to shut us down before we connect the fleet. They're too late, Reina said. In the last 5 days, Black Swan had reached 5 Seedships. Each time they sent data, repaired systems, shared tech. Some had weapons. Others had strange new sciences. One Seedship had developed living machines that could rebuild damaged ships. Another had energy shields strong enough to stop a devourer swipe. Humanity had not just survived. It had changed, adapted to fire, ice, darkness, radiation, hunger, learned to shape metal like clay, to bend energy like wind. Some people looked different now, taller, sharper, brighter, but they were still human. Their eyes still held the same fire. The message was clear. We're still here, and we're ready. But the Voidwalkers were spreading too. Reina watched the red zones on the map grow larger every hour. Systems were going dark. Colonies were vanishing without a trace. We have to fight back, she said. We can't keep running ship to ship forever. Elias nodded. Agreed. And I think we're ready. He tapped the console and pulled up a battle plan. There's a seed ship called Perseus. Last signal was weak, but we caught it in an old relay. They built something we've never seen before, time-stabilizing tech. Early tests showed it could slow Voidwalker phase shifts, maybe even trap them. Reina leaned closer. Where is it? Edge of the Girian Rift. Deep in black space. Not easy to reach. Juno shrugged. Nothing's easy anymore. Reina smiled. Plot a course. It took 2 jumps and a slow drift through gravity turbulence to get there. The system was quiet. Too quiet. No stars. Just a cold red planet with a dead moon. And orbiting the moon, Perseus. It was huge. Bigger than the Astraeus. Part ship, part station. A glowing ring of metal circled its midsection like a halo. Reina scanned the surface. No response. Elias stared at the readings. It's running silent. That ring, it's their stabilizer. Still active. I think they're hiding inside it. Juno docked the ship. The docking bay lights blinked on as they entered. Like the ship remembered how to breathe. Reina led the way in, moving slow, weapon drawn. Elias followed, then Juno. The halls were quiet, dust floating like mist. Then, a voice echoed. You shouldn't have come here. Reina froze. We're not enemies. A figure stepped from the shadows, an older woman in a black uniform. Her left arm was metallic. Her right eye glowed. I'm Admiral Reza Malik, the woman said. Captain of Perseus. You activated the Seedlink. Reina nodded. We're trying to bring the fleet together. Malik looked tired. Then you've already brought them. Reina frowned. What do you mean? Malik turned to a nearby console. They're coming. Now, this system's been marked by the void. Our stabilizer slows them, but it doesn't stop them. Soon they'll arrive in numbers. Elias stepped forward. Then we hold the line. Malik studied him. You're from Astraeus. Yes. She gave a small smile. That ship launched just before us. Good to know someone else made it. Reina spoke quickly. We brought tech, weapons, shields. We've learned from the others. If we link now, Perseus can amplify the signal to the other seed ships. We can fight together. Malik looked at the display. Thousands of lights blinked across the map. It might work. It has to. Alarms sounded. Voidwalkers had entered the system. 40 signals. Reina didn't hesitate. We fight here. We hold Perseus. In moments, the Seedship came alive. Lights returned. Shields rose. Weapons rotated into place. Then, from deep space, the shadows arrived. Like black lightning, they struck, ripping through empty space like claws tearing cloth. But this time, humanity didn't run. Perseus fired first, energy beams wrapped in stabilizer fields. When they hit the Voidwalkers, the monsters screamed. Reality bent, but it held. Then the others arrived. One by one, other Seedships jumped in. Tantalus, Eden, Calypso, Ironheart. Each one brought different weapons, different skills, different people. Together, they formed a wall of light against the dark. Reyna stood at the bridge, heart pounding. "They called us extinct," she whispered. "They called us forgotten." The stars lit up with fire. But we were only just beginning. The stars were on fire. Seedships filled the space around Perseus, moving like a swarm, each one different, each one powerful. Their hulls shimmered with strange metal. Their weapons glowed in colors not seen in any known spectrum. Some ships were sleek and fast. Others were massive, like moving cities. But they all moved with purpose. Together, they faced the dark. Voidwalkers drifted into the system, drawn by the stabilizer field. Their twisted bodies rippled across space like smoke caught in a storm. There were too many to count. Reyna Torres stood on the bridge of Perseus, staring at the map. "This is it," she said. "This is where we show the galaxy we're still here." Elias Ward stood beside her. His face was calm, his voice steady. "They want to erase us." Reyna looked at him. "Then we leave a mark they can't erase." Admiral Malik raised a hand. "All Seedships, this is Malik. Begin Formation Alpha. Shield the stabilizer core. Protect the signal." The ships moved as one. Old human tactics, rewritten by generations of survival, filled the void with light and fire. Stabilizer beams cut through the shadows. Graviton fields trapped voidwalkers. Kinetic lances punched holes in creatures that weren't supposed to have bodies. But the void fought back. Reality twisted where the voidwalkers gathered. Ships flickered in and out of phase. Screams echoed through comms that weren't even open. The darkness didn't just fight, it tried to break their minds. Reyna clutched the console. "Hold the line. Do not fall back." Eden fired a solar flare cannon, burning through 3 voidwalkers in one shot. Ironheart took a direct hit and lost half its hull, but still kept firing. Then something changed. A new signal lit up on the edge of the system. Another ship, bigger than the rest. It didn't send a name. It didn't ask for docking. It just spoke one word. "Earth." Everyone froze. Elias stared at the signal. "That can't be." Reyna's voice was barely a whisper. The last Seedship. The ship moved into view. Sleek, long, covered in white light. It didn't fire weapons. It just hovered there, watching. Then the sky changed. The Voidwalkers stopped moving. Something in the signal pulsed. Not a sound. Not a message. A memory. Across the fleet, crew members felt it. Images flashing in their minds. Earth, oceans, cities, skies, planet long gone, but never forgotten. The ship had carried the last memories of home. Somehow it had survived. And now it woke up. The final Seedship activated its core. A shock wave of pure time flowed outward, freezing the Voidwalkers in place. The stabilizer field around Perseus locked them down. "Now!" Reyna shouted. "Hit them with everything." Every Seedship fired at once. Beams of light, bursts of sound, solid metal, plasma fire. Every weapon, every tool, everything humanity had built through pain, loss, and stubborn survival, unleashed in a single perfect moment. The void screamed. Then it broke. The shadows tore apart. Space folded back to normal. Light returned, and silence fell. The battle was over. The Seedships floated in formation, some damaged, some dark, but most still standing. Reyna stared at the map. No more red zones. No more enemy signals. Just stars. She let out a long breath. "We did it." Elias leaned against the wall, eyes wide. "We beat them." Admiral Malik smiled. And now the galaxy knows. Within days, the consortium sent a delegation. They arrived in shining ships, full of questions and confusion. For centuries, they had believed humans were extinct. Their ruins had become holy sites, their tools mysterious relics. But now they saw the truth. Reyna stood before the council. "We were never gone," she said. "We were scattered, changed, forgotten, but we survived. And now we offer our strength." The council asked the obvious question. "What do you want in return?" Reyna smiled. "Nothing. We just want to build something better." Humanity was offered a seat on the new Galactic Council. Not as survivors, not as guests, as equals, as builders, as protectors. Years passed. The Seedships spread out again. This time not to flee, but to lead. They helped rebuild broken systems, repaired old stations, taught others how to resist the void. And they listened, too, learned, grew. Children born on those new worlds never knew Earth, but they spoke of it. A place of water and wind, where their ancestors once stood. In museums across the stars, visitors stared at the battered hull of the Astrius, now a monument. A plaque below it read, "They thought we were lost, but we became legend." And somewhere far beyond known space, another shadow stirred. But it hesitated, because now it remembered something. A species that did not break. A species that fought even when forgotten. A species called human. And it knew the galaxy was no longer undefended.